Hi, I'm Leslie Hoffman, and you're watching Spooky Horror House. I'm going to have to put a wig on a man. Any lower, I would have been decapitated. She was throwing up blood. Twilight Zone, he was on the set. Yep, we're used to it.
First of all, again, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us again because I had some technical issues last night. So I appreciate your time again tonight.
Uh, Computers, you gotta love them and hate them at the same time.
Very true. Yeah, helpful and a hindrance all at once. So we talked about a number of things last night, and we really got some into some brilliant stories. One of the main ones that I would like to revisit before we continue on. I've got all my bullet points ready in my notes. The motorcycle crash, specifically, we were talking about the dangers of stunt acting and the subsequent results of those sorts of incidents.
Uh, well, in the movie 1941, there was a motorcycle sidecar. Bud Eakins was driving the motorcycle, doubling uh, um, John Belushi. He's famous for The Great Escape, stunt doubling Steve McQueen, and jumping over uh, the fence and then falling into the barbed wire. So
Mhm.
he was the driver, but I was sitting on top of the sidecar, and Mike Cassidy, stuntman, was driving the sidecar, doubling Treat Williams. I was doubling Wendy Jo Sperber. We went up the loading dock ramp, and we kept running out of gas, and we didn't know why. Finally, we attempted to jump, ran out of gas. uh, Mike flipped over, went to the ground. They had pads on the ground for him. I slid on to the stake bed truck. Had we hit any lower, I would have been decapitated. I mean, I was along for the ride. As it turned out, the mechanics had put the gas line between the metal strut and the seat. And so every time that Mike sat on the seat, he was cutting off the gas. We had to come back a second night, and they discovered what they did, and they put the gas line underneath the strut, and we were able to do the jump in one take on the second night.
Mhm. So mentioning that there, such a small detail, as you said, very well could have ended your career and life then and there. You said something last night which I thought was inspired, and I really liked it about no amount of paper is worth your life. And a lot of stunt actors, you mentioned as well last night, a lot of stunt actors say no because they're not the person for that particular stunt.
Yeah, I mean the it isn't the big stunts that'll get you, it's the simple stunts that could kill you.
That's a very interesting take. I suppose a lot of people would think the bigger ones were the risky ones. Thinking of bigger stunts, especially related to your career, in your time shooting on the Love Boat, jumping 78 feet into the water. Last night you mentioned as well that even that stunt you could have been very severely injured or even died. It seems like, especially in the early days of stunt acting, it really was just check as best you can and hope that nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, the stunt coordinator called me up and said, Leslie, if you don't take the stunt, I'm gonna have to put a wig on a man. And I didn't find anything wrong with the high fall. I mean, in Saranac Lake, On one of the islands, we have a boulder that's 80 feet, and people jump off of that boulder. I've never done it, but people jump off that boulder into the water for the fun of it. Uh, we, like I say, I looked over the edge and I said, "How high is this?" He goes, 40 feet. I go, "Oh, okay." No big deal. The next
No
day he
problem.
calls me up and they measured it. It was 78 feet to water. Now he was a really safe stunt coordinator. I mean, he had someone dive in the water the day before to make sure there were no rocks or metal or something that Dick and I might hit. I mean, that could kill us. Dick and I landed about 3 feet apart from each other. Uh, very dangerous. I
Mhm.
was telling you that there was a stunt coordinator named Howard Curtis was who was skydiving for the fun of it. He jumped out, deployed his parachute. Another skydiver jumped and landed in the parachute, Howard's parachute, and they fell to the ground and it killed both of them.
Mhm. Another example of a slight miscalculation ending up in complete tragedy, which again leads us back to what's known as the Twilight Zone incident, yet another Spielberg production, which seems to have a bit of a track record of actors being injured and worse. Could you refresh our memories a little bit about the Twilight Zone incident?
Yeah, 1941, he injured every single main actor or got them sick. Treat Williams put his teeth through his lower lip. Wendy Jo Sperber, the actress I stunt double, had water on her knees. They had to, take the water out of her knees. There's an actress that has a scar on her cheek. Uh, Eddie Deason got sick on the Ferris wheel, and so did the other actor, Lorraine Gray. The gun was supposed to hit the door and swing open. Spielberg didn't like it, so he took the pin out of the hinges, and when the gun hit the door landed flat on top of her. She was throwing up blood. She had a concussion, and he made her work that night and the next day. Twilight Zone, he was on the set. They ended up blaming the helicopter pilot because he was an amateur. He wasn't a stunt pilot. I mean,
Mhm.
he knew how to fly a helicopter, but he had no movie knowledge.
Mhm.
Uh, I was sent up to Sacramento because I was on the board of directors of the Screen Actors Guild, and this assistant district attorney wanted to create a new law saying children could not be near rotors. Um, I get on the stand and I say, "You mean children can't be near a hair dryer?" He goes, "No, no, no, no. No, I don't mean that." I said, "Children can't be near a wind machine?" "No, no, no, no. I don't mean that." So I finally said, "Children can't be in a motorboat. The motor has a rotor." He goes, "Well, it's okay as long as we tie them in." Is he crazy? You
Mhm.
tie someone into a boat, it flips over, you drown the kid.
So a bigger accident waiting to happen ultimately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they ended up not creating new laws. I mean, it was Spielberg that went to the film commission and requested extra extra actors to be on the set after 10 o'clock at night. The film commission said, "No, we're not going to give you a waiver." So he found two Asian families, offered them $500 apiece to use their children. The children got killed. The family got $500 apiece. I mean,
That's
crazy.
and of course that's not like I did quite a lot of background research for this interview. I didn't find anything about that. Spielberg didn't wasn't even mentioned as being on set at the time of the accident or
You
having
think
that
he's going to
much.
tell the world that he was on the set?
Well, I don't think many people would be surprised at at that information. But sticking with uh, that particular incident, was it incidents like that and others that you'd witnessed and personally experienced, negligence and a lack of care for safety, that pushed you to start giving lectures and seminars about stunt safety, as well as ultimately writing the safety section of the AFTRA and SAG Young Performers Handbook?
Yes. I I ran for the Screen Actors Guild Board of Directors, and they had interviews to see, if someone would qualify or be a good nomination for the board. And they said, "Well, we know you're for stunts, but we can't have a one issue person. What else would you like to do?" And I said, "I'd like to be on the children's committee. They need protection." Then a week or two later was the Twilight Zone incident, and they nominated me. And I ran on Ed Asner's slate of 13 for the board of directors and got elected.
And of course, you were the first woman to be elected in that position.
That's correct. Until that time, it had been members of the Stuntmen's Association. That's an organization that does not allow women in it. So they didn't like when I got elected, and they did everything to get me kicked off the board.
And do you feel from that point, as you mentioned, that there was people actively making an effort to try and get you kicked off the board based solely on the fact that you were a woman? Do you feel like at the time you had strong supporters of your position and strong respecters of your position even then?
Uh, I had people, uh, black stunt people and women, come up to me and say, "Leslie, we need you to fight for the right of us getting work." And I went to the board of directors and said this. And then the Stuntmen's Association created an organization called AWAG, AWAG, and they they demanded that I get replaced. Or what Ed Asner did was he selected a stuntman from the group Stunts Unlimited to be a co-chair with me. But he was busy. He was never at the board meetings.
So you say you covered most of the duties and responsibilities while you were there.
Oops. Yeah, like I say, I fought for stunt people. I fought for all stunt people. I fought for children. And if anything, this one woman on the executive board did everything to also discredit me. Her name, it sounds like a man's name, but her name is Timothy Blake. She was on the executive board of directors. She got tired about that and became a trustee on the pension and health plan. And when I tried to get my disability pension and health, after I left the interview, the trustees were talking, and she goes, "I want to hurt her, not help her." And another guy laughs. Well, the whole room laughed, but this other guy, you can hear in the recording, says, I can believe that, or I can agree with that. It's
Mhm.
recorded.
So there is evidence. It is very interesting to me because I went down all sorts of directions while I was researching for this interview, and things like that are usually very briefly, if ever, mentioned. Like the Twilight Zone incident, for example. I don't think it's more than a paragraph that I was able to find on that, and it was very lax in information.
Uh, okay, I'm gonna, like I say, the Young Performers Committee, the chairwoman, Barry Howard, uh,
Mhm.
she knew from other people what happened on the set. Um, it took 11 years for me to win both the health plan and the pension plan. I was getting the pension plan, but they took it away from me and they wanted me to repay the money. I had an ERISA lawyer. This is a very specialized kind of lawsuit. His name is Chuck Flashman. He's retired now. Um, let's see. My dog is pulling the computer off the bed.
It's your Pekingese.
Don't do that. Um, took him 11 years. We had a crooked judge in the Los Angeles Superior Court. His name
Mhm.
is Manuel Riel. He was Hispanic, and the judges hated him, the lawyers hated him, but no one wanted to kick him off because they felt that they would be next. Um, we went to the California Supreme Court twice, not once, but twice, and we won both times. It's hard enough to win the first time, let alone the second time.
Mm. Of course, and of course, it takes not only time, but it takes money and travel and whatnot. It takes a lot more than just going and doing it to fight these sorts of things, especially against such big companies.
Well, the way ERISA works is the lawyer doesn't charge me money. I don't give him one third of my money. At the end of a lawsuit, he submits a bill to the court, and they decide how much money he should get. So he didn't, my money was my money, and he got paid by the courts, or he got the courts issued a bill to the Screen Actors Guild pension and health plan, and they paid him.
Right, I understand. It's it's still it is a shame. It's a real shame that after so many years of stunt work, you've gained quite a number of injuries through that work. You would think it would be plainly obvious to someone in that sort of position whose job it is that you are due this money. You that this is something that you're entitled to.
Oh yeah. No, Chuck said, I'm going to retire on your lawsuit. He actually retired before my lawsuit was done, but he kept his certification all open so he could continue fighting for me. And the silly thing is that there are actors and stunt people that will call me up or write to me and say, how did you do it? Or is there anyone that's been able to get the disability pension and health plan? I go, yeah, me. And they go, well, how'd you do it? And I tell them how to do it, and they go, oh, well, that sounds too hard. I'm not going to do it. Or there was this one woman, her husband was actually the injured person, and I told her what needed to be done. And instead, she goes to Aaron Brockovich's lawyer and files a lawsuit with him. He's not an ERISA lawyer. He lost the case and he wanted to get paid. And now she's really upset because she owes the lawyer money. Well, of course she owes the lawyer money. She didn't follow what I said.
I guess always go with knowledge tested.
Yeah, I don't know. People ask me for help and then they don't listen. And if anything, they want to blacklist me. I mean, it's crazy.
A lot of people tend not to like getting told exactly what they need to hear. It's a problem that a lot of people tend to have. Um, if we could carry on along the with stunts for now, though, we'll stay on we'll circle back to. I've got a personal section for later on in the interview where we can cover some of the more detailed things. Um, but I've got a question here for you about Wes Craven's 1997 Scream 2 and your
Yes.
role doubling for Laurie Metcalf's fight scenes and fall scenes. Can you tell us anything fun and interesting about shooting for Scream 2?
Well, before that, I actually worked for Wes Craven on Nightmare on Elm Street. I was the hall guard. Tony Caesar hired me, and I got to wear the sweater. I got to wear the claws. Westwood, I didn't audition. I'm a stunt person. Like I say, I was hired by Tony. So Wes comes up to me and he goes, okay, this actress is going to run into you and you need to fall down and you have to say, where's your pass? Well, that was Heather being Nancy. And I did that. And then they filmed the second part of the stunt. And Wes comes up to me and he looks like he's going to cry. He goes, I need you to say, hey, Nancy, no running in the hallway, and wave your claws and do a sinister laugh. Uh, like I say, he was gonna cry. Your voice is not gonna make it into the movie, at least not in that part of the scene. Um, and he walks away, and I'm thinking to myself, "Hey, I'm a stunt woman. What do I care if if my voice doesn't get heard?" He actually gave me double credits. If you look at the credits in the movie, I'm listed as the hall guard or the hall monitor. But then if you go to stunts, I'm listed there too. I mean, stunt people rarely get one credit, let alone two. The next movie I was on was Deadly Friends. Um, then we get up to Scream 2, where I
Mm.
doubled Laurie Metcalf. And I got hit in the head with the beer bottle. The whole stage is falling on top of me. I climb up this wall and the wall lets loose and these bricks fall on top of me, styrofoam bricks. But they were so many of them that it pinned me to the floor and I had to wait till people unburied me.
So you had to lay there hoping that people got to you quick enough. So
Yeah,
circling really quick back to the 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street with your role as the hall monitor. Um, did while you were shooting for the role, did you ever think that that scene would become so iconic in horror culture?
absolutely not. I mean, I've been in horror movies like Motel Hell. Movies come and go. Uh, I mean, people see me uh, or write to me and they go, where's your pass? Or, hey, Nancy, no running in the hallway, or screw your pass. I mean, 19 seconds and it's amazing. I mean, when I started doing stunts, I was hoping that I would be in a movie that would be remembered. And I thought that meant like a movie that got the Academy Award. Um, uh, didn't happen. Yet 19 May or Nightmare on Elm Street, everyone remembers that. Or if you do comedy, people remember me as stunt doubling Queen Elizabeth going down the banquet table.
I read about the Queen Elizabeth scene. That must have been really fun to shoot, being slid along that table.
Yeah, it was really funny. Is that the Bruce Barber was doubling Leslie Nielsen, and he had to hit a mini tramp and knock me to the table. We did it 7 times because he hit me high, low, this way, that way. No one said anything when they finally got the shot. Then they lay us down on this little tray that's underneath uh, the banquet, whatever,
Hmm.
linen. And on action, the crew members pull us down the banquet table. And we go, like I say, we go flying down the banquet table. We get to the end of the table. Everybody in the room is cheering us. I mean, it was so funny. It was fun working with Leslie Nielsen. It was amazing to work with Ricardo Montalban. I actually have a picture where Ricardo is standing behind me and I'm seated as Queen Elizabeth.
And is that something that you have, like, do you have that on your wall? Do you keep that photo?
Uh, I have it in a book, and I also have it in my computer.
Very good. You mentioned there about being recognized and being a part of many different things, from comedies to horrors to action movies, which brings us into your time after retirement, spending time at conventions, meeting fans, signing memorabilia. What's your favorite parts about that?
Well, I used to have a different agent, and in 20 years, he sent me out 5 times. That was it. Then I met James Davidson, and he loves Nightmare on Elm Street. He loves Scream 2, and he's become my business manager. And well, when you're working, uh, you can't travel. So in my retirement, I've been able to travel around the United States, Northern Ireland, Scotland, the UK, England. I mean, Germany. I'm hoping to see the world, and I love meeting fans. And the other thing is that this is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. And James is not that knowledgeable about Star Trek. So it amazes him when someone comes up to the table and they ask me a question. I start answering it with the name of Star Trek, either the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, uh, and by name, by episode, by star, by stunt people. Uh,
Because
anyways,
of course,
it's
of
a
course,
lot of
you're a
fun.
Trekkie at heart. Before you were acting and performing, you enjoyed Star Trek yourself.
Yes, I'm an original Trekkie. I used to watch Star Trek at home in Saranac Lake. Then it was the second Star Trek convention in New York City, and I went down there and I entered a trivia contest and came in third, which is pretty amazing because there were thousands of people at the convention. I mean, the little girl from Saranac Lake comes in third.
I'm sure someone has that moment on a home video somewhere.
Uh, I don't know if they have it on a home video, but I have the tests with the scores, and I think I have the letter telling me that I came in third. I also have the convention magazine uh, that they handed out to the people that attended.
Wow, that must be. I know some Trekkies online that would run away with that if they got the chance. So for our next question, though, a little bit less horror. Um, while working on the set of Bada Bing, Bada Bang, you saved a crew member's life while they were falling off a 12-foot ladder. Other than that just being amazing and incredible, can you tell us what happened? Like, how did that actually turn out?
Yeah, the stunt coordinator is Dennis Madelone. we all went to Paul Stater's gym in Santa Monica. I was in New York during Next Generation, so I didn't get to work on that, but I came back out in time for Deep Space Nine and Voyager. So on Deep Space Nine, bada bing, bada bang, Dennis had me attend the production meeting, and he also had me on the set that day. And the crew member was on the ladder with a pizza spatula, shaking it with money so it would float because if Avery just threw a wad of money up in the air, it would come down as a wad. So the
Mhm.
pizza platter, made it float around. Anyways, they were moving a camera crane around, and the camera crane bumped into the ladder, and the ladder started tipping over. Well, RJ was hanging on for dear life. There was nothing he could do because he had one hand on the ladder, he had the other hand on the spatula. I'm in high heels. I'm dressed like 1950s. I go running up and I lean into the ladder, to keep it upright. And finally, other people realized what I was doing and they pulled away the crane, and other people came in and uprighted the ladder. The next day, Tom Morgan and I were walking down the street, and JR and Gary Monak come by in a golf cart. And JR or RJ says, she saved my life. She's my hero.
Well, I hope he bought you a beer or lunch or something for that. That was absolutely incredible, and in high heels, no less.
Uh, nah,
Wow.
it's all in a day's work. A lot of crew members and actors on the various Star Trek series love Star Trek. They're Trekkies themselves.
So it's a group effort to make everything happen how it should.
Yeah, I, it's funny. Like, I was on an episode called Covenant, and the airlock, uh, Galdacott is trying to kill this woman, and he puts her in the airlock and opens up the airlock. Well, it's only open up a crack, and I'm wearing a scarf, and they have the scarf go flying out, but I fall down to the ground. Well, I said to the production manager, well, shouldn't I have been, sucked out too? And he goes, shut up.
That's not important.
Right.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So that brings us to the segment of the episode I thought it would be fun to do. Just a wee personal section, some honorable mentions of your achievements over the years through your career. So, as we'd previously mentioned, in 1981, you were the first stunt woman to be elected to the board of directors of the Screen Actors Guild, and that's a historical achievement to say the least. Were you ever acknowledged in some way for being the first woman
Uh,
on the board?
the next president after Ed Asner was Patty Duke, and I have a certificate of appreciation signed by her, which is interesting because her son, Sean Astin, is currently the president of the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Maybe you should get an updated one from him. We terms of service.
I don't even think he knows who I am.
Well, he should, and hopefully this video brings a lot more traction. That's what we're hoping. Which that leads me again to you received, for some reason, my notes, I don't have a date, but you received a plaque on the Saranac Lake Walk of Fame found on the corner of Main Street and Academy Street on the wall of the Hotel Saranac, a particular place that you spent a lot of time as a child growing up in the area with. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you feel being honored with that plaque?
Well, you kind of you kind of said it all. Is my father used to take the family out on Sundays. Well, and this will happen to be Thursdays. Hotel Saranac was run by the Paul Smiths College, and on Thursdays they would have themed buffets like Hawaii or you name it. Um, it was great fun to go to those buffets. Uh, so when I was told I was going to get the plaque, uh, I chose Hotel Saranac because it has fond memories for me. And Hotel Saranac was willing to let me have the plaque there. And they had a ceremony and everything. I have pictures of me in front of the plaque.
I
It
did
it
find some of
says
those
labor
photos.
leader and maybe stunt performer or stunt actress.
We'll be able to. I did find a really good photo of you next to the plaque, so I'll be able to add that into the video. Um, so would you say you get recognized since you were acknowledged by the local town? Do you get recognized when you go out?
Um, I don't think the town knows that I was a stuntwoman in Hollywood. Um, I mean, whoever's walked by Hotel Saranac probably has seen the plaque. I did a career day at our high school. It was when I was doubling Doris Roberts on Remington Steel, and I was telling them how one week Pierce bulldogs Doris Roberts, and the next week he bulldogs Rosa Marie, who was famous for the Dick Van Dyke Show. Uh,
Hmm.
the uh, assistant teacher goes, "Gee, I wish he'd jump on me."
Oh, brilliant. Um, so last wee bit, I have a couple of questions from some fans, if you're ready for that.
Yeah.
Question one comes from our user Drunken Scotsman. What's a typical day of shooting stunts like?
Well, I mean, it varies. It could be horror, it could be comedy, it could be drama. Um, you get a 5 a.m. call and they might use you at 5 o'clock at night. So it's hurry up and wait.
A little bit of waiting about. I guess a lot of things are like that. A lot of industries are that way. So, question two from the fans. This is from username Loaf. Do you keep in touch with anyone from Nightmare on Elm Street?
Uh, I met uh, some of the crew uh, at different horror conventions. I have pictures with me with Robert and a group cast picture with Tony and his daughters who were part of the jump rope scene.
Hmm.
Um, well, like I say, I have pictures of that.
Question three here comes from Scotland.Ghostface. Would you have returned to Elm Street if they had offered you a role?
Oh, absolutely. It was interesting. They did do a remake of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which I think was 2010, and it bombed. Nobody liked it. The interesting thing was there wasn't a role for it. They didn't have the Hall Guard in the remake. Um, I think in Scream One, um, they kind of honored me with the principal saying something about the hallway.
So, final question from the fans. Sorry, my mistake. Fourth question from the fans. This one comes from username Demon of Vengeance. Did you steal any props or costume from a set? I know I would.
Uh, the first movie I was in called 2 Minute Warning, there was this huge badge uh, with purple with a football team on it. I kind of borrowed that. Then Paramount sold off the wardrobe department to a company called It's a Wrap, and they had an auction on eBay. and I actually have my Torres suit that I wore, the silver jumpsuit,
Mm.
and I also have What We Leave Behind when I stunt doubled Mila Garrick's. Well, they say homekeeper or housekeeper, but the day I was on the set, they said that she was his mother. So I have those two suits.
That's pretty good. I like the word that you used, borrowed. Okay, so that leads us to our final fan question. This is from username Witchrat. Historically, women in Hollywood haven't always been treated fairly. Do you feel like your work and by extension you have been respected through your career?
No, I have no respect from the people in Hollywood. They wish I would disappear. They don't want me to be part of the history of the stunt community.
I take it that's primarily because you're outspoken about things that are wrong in the industry and you're not afraid to stand up for the little people.
That's right. I mean, uh, I guess I turned the stunt community upside down and they did it back to me.
Well, they're stunt performers. They should be fine with going upside down once in a while.
Yep, we're used to it.
Exactly, exactly. So, for my last movie question, a classic question in this game, I would personally like to know, Leslie, what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, obviously Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I will, again, I'll always be remembered for that 19 seconds.
19 seconds that it will go down in history, no doubt. Now, before we end, we talked about conventions, meeting fans, and going to events and whatnot. What's next on your agenda? Where can people follow you to keep up to date and arrange to meet you?
Uh, well, James is always looking for submitting me to conventions. I mean, the problem is you need a convention that wants you. If there are fans out there that could contact conventions and say, we want Leslie Hoffman at the convention, that would be very helpful.
So it's down to the fans. We'll need to make a fan call, make sure everyone sends out some emails. Is there anything that you're working on that fans can look forward to? I did see while researching, there was whispers of a book.
Um, well, uh, I have a person in the United States that hopefully is writing a book about autobiography on me. I mean, who knows? Maybe someday they'll make it a movie. Uh, you just never give up. No matter what other people say to you, you don't give up.
That's definitely words to live by. Definitely words to live by. A lot of people do seem to find it difficult to break into the specific
Oh yeah. No, people
workplaces that they want to.
people get scared and they settle for something so much smaller when there's so much bigger stuff out there that you could be doing.
100%. Never quit, never let people hold you back. Well, Leslie, it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor having you on tonight. Uh,
Oh,
excuse me.
thank you.
It's been great having you on for the first episode. Thank you so much for your time. I would like to also say as well, just a wee personal thank you again for my signed glove and my signed mask. It stays center row on the top shelf of the collection, and gets dusted daily.
Oh, it was so much fun in Scotland. I was telling you, the problem was uh, James and I flew from Northern Ireland to Scotland. We went from the airport to the hotel to the convention, back to the air or hotel, back to the convention, back to the airport. So I really didn't get to see Scotland. Um, I mean, I would have loved to see the Loch Ness because you have the Loch Ness Monster, but about an hour away from me
Mm,
is Lake Champlain, and we have Champy, which is a cousin to Loch Ness.
that's right, Champy. I remember asking you last night if you ever seen Champy.
No, I've ridden on the ferry, and sometimes the water is really choppy. Uh, Probably Champy's having a lot of fun rocking the boat.
Wishing his tail around. Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much, Leslie. Appreciate that. Welcome back once again to the end of the video. Another huge thanks to the lovely Miss Leslie Hoffman for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. If you liked the video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. And if you're an event organizer, I'll make sure to drop James's information so you can get in contact with him and have Leslie come to your event. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the sequel.